Chapter 60. Is it really possible for everyone to love their neighbor? No ifs, ands, or buts. No exceptions, period. Now, where have we heard this very simple survival instruction before? Why, from every single spiritual, mystical, or religious hero or spiritual writer who ever lived. That's who, including Jesus, Buddha, Confucius, Lao Tzu, all of them. They all said the same thing. Why is it that no one ever wants to be the first one to admit we're all truly equal, and that love your neighbor makes absolutely perfect common sense? It also makes good political, economic, and social sense. Maybe the reason people do not practice it is the fear of experiencing the trauma of being the only politically incorrect person doing it. What is it about us humans that makes us so damn arrogant in thinking there is, or ever was, any other way to survive on this delicately balanced planet? So with that attitude firmly in mind, I decided to do this entire Ukab trek as a physical, mental, and spiritual survival experiment. We will put 20 unknowns who basically learned to hate each other from birth into a control group for 10 days and see if they'll end up actually giving a damn about each other at the end. And I told Danielle, in order to pass our first year course to catch up with the others, she had to live, eat, and sleep with them for the entire 10 days while I made camp way out of sight downstream at my old camping spot when I was on my 10-day trek. That was a terrifically hard sell and totally pissed her off. I tried to explain about favoritism and its pernicious, that means deadly, effect upon any group in any situation, but that fell on deaf ears for her. She, being young, considered it another personal rejection and just stayed pissed off, totally ignoring the fact that everyone on the trek already knew she was a half semester short in starting school, and they were watching me like fish eagles to see if I would violate my own instructions for demanding fundamental fairness for everyone. The part of the plan was watching the different personalities instinctively pair off into functional teams. I did not assign them into teams. They formed them instinctively from their own classroom survival team experience. They knew the team survival system worked, all for one and one for all. They asked Andrew to be the leader, since he was anyway. The team spread out into business and political communities to sell and plan, and to get both in-kind and money contributions. It was a phenomenal success in terms of public relations. The entire Swakop community admired them, and soon the trek shaped into a form with specific plans. Then it shaped into a pattern of specific behavior as expected from each member of each team. Of course there were slackers that insisted that they were victims and expected others to pull their weight for them. One in particular, a German named Heinz, the most spoiled orphan kid I ever met. Friendly but totally incapable of either planning or executing a plan. This trek should be really good. Others like him were subtly lining up in sympathy with him. Now the fun begins. The competent ones against the slackers. Sounds just like real life, doesn't it? Transportation was going to be the most critical problem. One lady had to bring her youngins, the youngest still nursing. Vacations were rearranged, replacements at jobs found, and other responsibilities rearranged. They were totally committed to getting the trek done at any price or personal inconvenience to themselves. That attitude alone served to convince me they all passed the test so far. I was loving it. People can change. They were proving it right in front of my very own eyes. Finally, the day the trek arrived. Everyone assembled at my flat. Anticipation was high. One team led the way, and the others in a caravan behind them with prearranged pit stops to check on the progress of all our chancy vehicles. And all the vehicles had that problem. I got started early to be the first one to arrive in order to set up my campsite first and then watch them organize. Earlier in the month, over the Christmas holiday season, I was visited in Swakop by an old buddy of mine from Delaware named Jim Stevenson. He was a magistrate once, and he also worked for me during First National retirement. After a few nice days together, where he met all of the students, he gave me a bundle of cash to help with the trek. I, in turn, right in front of him, gave another guy who was spending a lot of the camping time in Ukop 3,000 Namibian dollars. That's about 500 in the United States. To give to Paul, the manager of the Rhino Trust, to place as the down payment to pay for the use of the kraal and other expenses as a reservation. The actual cost per person was only $10 per day for 10 days for 20 students. Do the math. The $3,000 Namibian advance was more than plenty. I picked the largest kraal, closest to the village, shower and toilets, and directed the vehicles to park in a row next to the rock wall to heaven, the one I found when I was on my own trek. Other than that, I stayed out of the fray. In the first few hours, they looked like the Keystone Cops getting themselves organized inside the kraal. Who sleeps next to who, and who was going to sleep where, was a really big deal. It was a total mess. Andrew finally stepped in and ordered everyone to settle down. Then he let the women with the children have their choice of space. No one objected. We're beginning to trek by making exceptions to rules. Or were they just being fair by instinct? The first major decision surprised everyone, including me. I wondered who would take charge of the cooking. A large, handsome, loud-mouthed Afrikaner took immediate charge of the process with, "You fuckers can't cook worth the shit." He started collecting firewood, piling it just right in the fireplace, in the back of the kraal, away from all the personal sleeping bags and things, and always yelling at Heinz, "Go fetch some this size, and get it, or you don't get to eat." A leader, or a bully, or a socially shy avoider. I wonder which one he'll turn out to be. Others milled around silently, confused, finding nothing to do, and no one to take care of or obey. I wanted desperately to reach out and to stay and watch them and have the fun. I kissed Danielle in front of the others to prove my love and loyalty, and then said, "I'll see you all in the evening. Call me for dinner," and I left. The next is chapter 61, and we'll cover that the next time.